South Korea's foreign minister will be pushing with the current hardline policy against North Korea, regardless of former President Park Geun-hye being ousted from office last week. Yoon has a busy schedule as he will be meeting with foreign ministers of Singapore, Sri Lanka, the U.S. and Vietnam starting this week. Connie Kim has this report.
South Korea's hardline policy against North Korea is bound to continue, regardless of the impeachment of former President Park Geun-hye last week. Seoul's Foreign Minister Byung-se is scheduled to meet with Singaporean counterpart Vivian Balakrishnan on Tuesday in Singapore. Then, Yoon will meet with his Sri Lankan counterpart the following day in Colombo to discuss ways to further pressure North Korea. It's worth noting that the talks between the foreign ministers of South Korea and Sri Lanka come when the two countries are marking their 40th anniversary of establishing diplomatic ties. The South Asian island country has been actively implementing the sanctions adopted by the international community against North Korea, issuing statements condemning the regime's nuclear and ballistic missile tests last year. Seoul's hardline policy against Pyongyang is to reach its peak when Minister Yoon and the U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson meet on Friday for official talks in Seoul. Their sit-down session is a second one following a short discussion during the G20 foreign ministers meeting in Germany last month, and comes as Washington is pressing to complete its strategy review on how to deal with North Korea. Seoul's foreign minister evaluates Tillerson's visit as a timely and meaningful one, coming on the heels of China's apparent economic retaliation against the deployment of U.S. missile defense system THAAD to the Korean peninsula and North Korea's recent launches of ballistic missiles. Minister Yoon is then scheduled to fly to Vietnam, where he'll hold bilateral talks with his Vietnamese counterpart. Once a traditional ally to Pyongyang, Hanoi has been recently turning its back against the regime and its continuing provocations. Discussing North Korea's threat will also top the agenda when the top leaderships of the U.S. and China meet next month in Washington, with the two expected to touch upon the escalating tensions on the Korean peninsula due to the THAAD deployment. Connie Kim, Arirang News.